Okay, so let's switch gears into looking at the customer experience through the eyes of the SVP of Marketing at the best mortgage company to work for in 2022. Please join me in welcoming Haydn Sweterlitsch to the stage. So Spring EQ offers various ways to access cash through your home's equity via HELOC, as well as low-rate refi options. They offer a holistic mortgage experience that combines cutting-edge technology with expert guidance in a consumer-led sort of experience. And Haydn, you have over 20 years of experience serving global clients. Let's see, Amazon, Microsoft, Volkswagen, MasterCard, AT&T, Netflix, the list goes on. Fun fact I learned about Haydn during our prep. So at the beginning of 2020, you spent some time living out of an Airstream in Texas, opening an art supplies store as well, if I'm remembering correctly. So. Yeah. I'm
sure everyone has similar stories.
That's right. That's right. So, as you think about the existing market, and it seems like Spring EQ's differentiator focuses on a consumer-led experience. Why is it so important to offer an omni-channel strategy in today's market?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Jeff. I'm surprised by the question. I voted today because it's primary day, so like any good politician, I will answer a completely different question than the one I was asked. But no, the omni-channel is essential for obvious reasons. I think I've heard a lot of different people talking about works in progress, about the evolution, about change, about disruption. What we see is, and one thing I found, honestly, in coming into the mortgage industry, when I did, just about as the pandemic was beginning, I'd worked for a lot of different industries, as Jeff had mentioned, in clients, but there's a product centricity in regulated markets that can't be denied. Now, why is that? It happens in insurance, happens in healthcare, happens in finance, obviously. It's because there's a lot of outside influences and outside events that can have an outsized influence on how we live. Rich had mentioned it. Rates go down, home values go up, the demand for refinances rises. Rates go up, home values stay high, the demand for HELOCs rises, and refinance goes down. You need to have, for any regulatory event or any rate environment, for any wave, you have to have the right product to ride that wave. The right product with a wave that doesn't exist won't work. The wrong product for the wave that does exist won't work. So it's only natural that there's a product centricity. One of the things that has been happening in all of marketing is the move to customer centricity, the move to customers having that power. So we see that disruption that causes those changes, the disruption of an old CMO that I worked for used to say that the customer's in control, the deer have the rifles. And I think that's true to an extent. But what's been true all the time is that we have to engage people where they are, in the way that they want to be, interacted with. So customers have control. Why? Well, disruptions in other industries have a direct effect on us. You could disrupt distribution, like Uber, Netflix, Amazon. That's going to change the way things work in other industries. You could disrupt experience or expectation, like Apple, like Progressive Insurance, like Google, and you're going to see people have different expectations. There's that statement I'm sure you've heard, that the Amazonification of customer experience, and customer experience is so key. Why do we talk about that? It's because right now, is this statement unrealistic? Is it out of the realm of possibility? It's what people expect, because right now, your consumer, your customer, they demand that their banking, their insurance, their healthcare, it has to all be as seamless and simple as ordering a Prime delivery or getting a playlist to go on Spotify. That's what they expect, because that's what they experience in other industries. they have the control. We have to meet them, greet them, and treat them. Meet them where they want to be, greet them in the way they want to be greeted, and treat them in the fashion they want to be treated. That's essentially what we're playing with. We talked a lot of talk about data in the previous group, and I think it was very interesting because I think we all have had the same experience. In the era of big data, we have so much data, and yes, there's going to be some chief data officers out there that say, no, you don't. You don't even know how much you don't have. But as we all started to have this data, and data has always, I grew up in direct marketing like Rich. Data and results and optimization have always been part of my vocabulary. And I guess what we've been going through, what I've been going through, and I'm sure my story is a lot like everybody else's, is how do we carve the data down? How do we sharpen our insights edge? How do we get more and more of the data that we can use, that can guide us without burdening us, that can help us, there was, I think it was Ogilvy said, the problem with most marketers and advertisers is that they use data like a drunk uses a lamppost for support, not guidance. And I think that's true. We have, we're up to our necks in data, but what do we use to actually guide us? And that's where you get to smart data. Everyone's seen Moneyball. In our quest to simplify, in our quest to simplify the customer experience, and our quest to simplify our jobs, we look for that one metric to rule them all. Maybe it's NPS. Maybe it's the Moneyball on-base percentage. You want that one metric to rule them all. If you've found it, let me know, because we are hiring, and I would love for you to put that information to work for us. I don't know if there's one metric to rule them all, but I do know that part of our job in marketing is not just to simplify the customer experience, the person who wants to get a HELOC as easily as they create a playlist. We also have to make things simple for our C-suite, for our ops team, for our sales team, for our capital markets team. We have to give them those insights. We can't just throw numbers at them. A spreadsheet is going to be a spreadsheet. What we also have to do is look inside the numbers and kind of get to the insights, the whys. And that's why sometimes, our automations, our workflows, they start to look like a Fibonacci sequence. They're very, very elegant, but also intricate and complex. And that's why we like to say that designing simplicity is a very complex task. It's like the duck going across the water. It's all serene and perfect and just floating, but beneath the water, it's paddling like heck to get to where it needs to go. So how do we move forward in a time when customers have all the control? The data can drown you if you don't look at it with an insightful, sharp enough edge. And there's technology coming out of our eyeballs and disruption happening in other industries that we have no control over, but still is going to affect us. Well, I'm glad you asked, because it is really all about customer experience and designing a simple customer experience and providing simple, actionable insights to our partners, to our stakeholders, to our C-suite, and to each other. And as we move forward, there's going to be some things. I think OnStar is a perfect example of conversational interaction, conversational user experience. Alexa, Google Home, a lot of the home automation is driven by voice interaction, and we have to kind of get there. We're getting used to the screen. We're getting used to the Chris. Where are you? Chris and I were talking about turning notifications off on your phone, and how when you don't get that constant stream of notifications and bings, and I don't keep hearing the ESPN Sports Center ding ringtone because I know the Mets are in the fourth inning now, it frees you up to not be distracted. Something we're always dealing with as marketers is how do we intervene without distracting? And this is, again, going back to the very beginning, the behavioral data that we had talked about. The behavioral data, those signals we get from Activate, for instance, are invaluable because they're telling us about an event signal that's very high in the funnel. So what we can do is we can interact with that customer on their terms, in their channel, but not in a creepy way, in a way that doesn't disempower them. It actually complements them and gets us into the conversation in an early stage. And when we can get into the conversation of the customer pathway that early, I think it's a pretty valuable asset to have. And that's one of the reasons we love Activate, and it's a big part of our MarTech stack. The conversational UX is going to be important. The next is IoT interactivity. That is, I'm going to shorthand it very simply, say that is a perfect case of what you can do and what you should do. Jeff, you had mentioned, when is OnStar going to be able to say, hey, you could have saved $150 on your insurance? And the answer is, it can now. But it doesn't because, you know, maybe I don't need to get a Domino's pizza delivery offer from my light bulbs. You know, we used to have a saying. We would talk about the dystopian kitchen of the future, where all of your devices are connected, all of them are talking to each other, and all of them are telling jokes about you when you're not around. But they're also, you know, at a certain point, bananas have a great operating system where I know when I need to buy new ones, because they turn brown on the outside, they're not ripe anymore, and I can get rid of them. I don't need my phone to let me know that I need to buy new bananas or that the bread is stale. I can tell. And then last, the reality of the metaverse. There's a lot of blowback, there's a lot of hype, obviously, we've talked about it, but I want everyone to think for a moment back to 2007, how you lived, how you banked, how you shopped, how you watched movies and listened to music. In 2007, now they had been, the first smartphone I think was IBM in the early 90s. The iPhone came out in 2007, and the mobile, social, local revolution had yet to come. The way that changed not only how people live, but obviously how we market to them, because again, right person, right message, right time, right channel, that was a huge change. There was a time in my life, I don't want to date myself, but there was a time in my life when email and SMS were not viable marketing channels. They didn't pay through. And now they're run up the middle. They're the most, I don't want to call them vanilla, but they're the most essential parts of a lot of marketing. And again, at some point they may become too traditional and too niche, and they might be out of it. But the metaverse has had decades of R&D going behind it. We have a generation of consumers that have grown up interacting and building trust with one another on MMORPGs, on Xbox and Roblox, and that will be a channel that we must meet people and treat them the proper way so that they can get service from us. So, wrapping it all up, what's going to be the net is, I don't know what we should do in the IoT, and I can't tell you what the reality of the metaverse channel will be, but I do know that the behavioral signals and the behavioral data that you get to inform your actions on how you treat people and where you meet them are going to be always as essential as they always have been. So that's what's happening at Spring EQ, and I want to thank you for the time.